Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. Together with these great partners, we are able to bring you quality information to help you reach your whitetail habitat goals quicker but more proficiently. Northwoods Whitetails, Plot Doctor, Harper Growing Solutions, Scenttheif, Realwood Productions, First Form Outdoors, Ace Hardware of Harrodsburg, Kentucky, Bass Pro and Cabela's. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Let's dive right into this one. The time of the year we all wait for, but man, it seems like it goes by so fast, right? We've been super swamped here. It's hard to believe that we're in the middle of November. Work all year, preparations, travel the country, building our own properties, helping design and build other properties, and it seems like it's just jammed into a month, right? It's not, it's a 90-day season, but good friends in camp. We were successful. Got a really good buck harvested here the other couple days back with a good friend of mine, and we are kind of in this whole rush, right? That feels like the rut rush, if you will, right? We're going to talk about this one today, guys. We're going to talk about the peak rut strategies. The top 5, there are many, but we're just going to talk about 5 and try to categorize them maybe as the top 5. We're going to talk about these strategies and how they tie to what we're going through and also what you guys are probably seeing out in the field. So let's dive right into this one. The grind, the grind of the peak rut. Pre-rut, you kind of pick away, right? Early season and the pre-rut, you kind of pick away. You don't want to do too much too fast. You want to have the availability to have that 90-day season, anything left, or the power of that 90-day season, right? If you need it. So we're all kind of doing that dance, right? We're getting the wind right. We're trying to figure him out. We're looking back on what he did last year, and we're really trying to figure out where are we best, where is our time best spent. Right now, the grind, the time is best spent in the field. You go from, picking away at PM sits, pre-rut, and during the early season of the pre-rut, like I said, and now we're in this all day long. I mean, the farm right now, a lot of clients around the country, the farms are on fire, right? So it goes from kind of you have to be still strategic about it because we all have lives and we have families and we have work and everything else that ties into that. But the more time that you can spend in the stand right now, the better. Now, with that being said, is it the same stand? There's a few. I'm lucky enough to have a couple here at the farm. But remember, guys, you got to look at what the morning presents and what the evening presents. And I think what you'll find is a lot of times it's best to still be in that AM stand location, treat it as an all-day sit, if you will, but maybe transfer to a PM. So in other words, going in to those, closer to those bedding areas in the morning, letting that 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock movement come back to you after that settles in, because I don't recommend being on top of that bedding. After that settles in and things, find their place, yes, you're going to have a lot of that 10 to 2 movement. But if that movement is better productive towards a food source, you have to look ahead. If you sit in that spot in the morning, that morning bedding area sits, let's say, right? What is labeled the rut stands, right? Can you get out? What happens after dark? If you have a chance to get out midday, move to an evening food source, especially like where we are right now in the gun season, where you're covering more. And one of our topics here, you're going to cover more than just a food source. I highly recommend pulling away from that bedding and getting to that food source, or something like with a gun, something that you can service that food plot, right? Number 2, guys, is this: the water hole versus the scrape. Water hole usage pre-rut and the rut starts to just, escalate, right? I always tell people, if you didn't have your phone or you didn't know what date it was, you just had your trail cameras and the date was covered up, right? And all of a sudden your trail camera pictures on your water hole start to blow up. you know the rut's kicking. And as the mature bucks start to use that, you know it's really kicking. So maybe before it was a pre-rut, mature bucks start showing up, and they're exerting a bunch of energy running around the farm, running around your entire community, and boy, they need the water intake, right? It's a powerful piece of the puzzle. I still think today people overlook that. In the way I design and the way I help people, it's really a blessing to me to see open a lot of folks' eyes to the power of water. Because like I said, guys, I've been asked this a lot. If you had a chance to have a water hole or a food plot, which one would you have? And would have a water hole down, hands down, right? I wouldn't. That's not even a question. The reason is you can hunt a water hole and get away from it. And you don't have a chance to blow out a food plot. So, not saying that you don't just get away from your food plots. What I'm saying is the best property has both. But if you only have the opportunity, availability, leased farm, whatever that case is, and I would put a water hole in. Now, what I've got on there, it says more visual. What I mean, guys, is a lot of times you're going to find right now is they're so busy, right? They're so busy trying to be productive on their feet. You're not going to get maybe the bucks initially coming and sticking that nose and putting that preorbital gland all over that scrape or that licking branch, let's say. You might get one of three that does that versus, you know, all three were doing that just a few short weeks ago. What you're going to have a lot of downwind movement of it. They're going to J-hook into it. Maybe they don't even stop. So that ties into a point. Don't put so much faith in the cameras right now. I'm not going there because he hasn't been on camera, guys. There's a lot of movement that's happening right now behind your scrapes for the downwind attraction or for the downwind information that they are getting, right? So you could or could not be getting pictures of them. Like I said, just a few short weeks ago, they were sticking their nose right on that licking branch, and now they're checking it as they go by. So you always hear, right, downwind side of bedding areas, guys. It sounds to an experienced hunter or even someone just getting into it, when you hear that, it's like, well, duh. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen I'm going to say 80% of hunting strategies don't take in the power of hunting downwind of bedding areas. So we're going to touch on the first part of that. The first part of that is this: when folks want to be downwind of bedding areas, sometimes because of the term that is, you know, the rut stands only, is they're downwind of bedding areas, but maybe a buck bedding area. Well, yes, that might be habitat correct. That's where the research and the design of the properties that we do and is to try to help you understand the difference between those bedding areas, those buck bedding areas, and those doe bedding areas, and really dissect where those are at per your food, right? That's how you determine the two of them. Being downwind of a buck bedding area is a very slim chance opportunity for a harvest. The reason is the buck that you're probably targeting that is there in that bed is not going to come downwind of that area and you know, be huntable, I guess you could say, like a buck that's maybe not a core buck that's sliding in behind that bedding area just because he knows it's habitat correct. So I hope that one makes sense. The other side of it is I try to make folks understand that when you hear downwind of bedding areas, the most productive downwind side of bedding area hunting is downwind of does. The focus right now during the pre-rut going into the peak of the rut, where we are right now, like here in central Kentucky, the focus is all about the ladies, right? You have to be where those does are at. You have to be where they were. Every strategy right now is about the does. A week, 2 weeks from now, that's going to change. But right now, you have to know where that habitat is best, how close that is to food. Is it doe dominant? Is it further away from food that it's more, just because it's habitat correct doesn't mean it's going to hold does? Is it more bucks? So you're really dissecting that. So the best way to determine that is your more correct habitat closer to your food is going to be doe dominated. Your correct habitat that's further away from food is going to have a better chance to be buck dominated. So here's one that ruffles feathers, guys, but this one here is not sitting over just a food plot all day long. And the reason I say that is right now we are in the gun season. The modern gun season just started here in Kentucky a couple of days ago. And Yes, you're going to get lucky. Yes, it happens, but the productive side of sitting over a food plot all day long is minuscule, right? It's such a small fraction, and folks put it's the best stand, the best blind. I can see a long ways. Man, I like to gun hunt out of that thing because I can really stretch one out and shoot if I have to. And I get it. I was born and raised in a gun hunting state, Michigan, right? But all of my stands that I have something more to offer than just a food plot. A couple of the best stands I've got here on the farm. One, I wish that everyone could experience. And one of these days when I'm in that stand, I need to just stop and shoot a video. I've got little segments of it, but overlooking a water hole on the edge of a field, looking at a food plot, I can see the scrape that's in the shot plot. I can see the food plot. I can see the water hole. I can see that licking branch. I can look across the valley. I can see another licking branch. Guys, I'm covering so much movement. Notice when I said that, I didn't just say sitting on the field. And the reason for that is, guys, is this. AM accesses into field hunting, food plot hunting, huge, huge devastation. Can you do it? Yeah, you can do it. There's ways to do that, but it's not going in even 90 minutes before dark and thinking that if you blow the deer off, it's fine, they're going to come back in. Huge problem, especially during a gun season. The worst thing that you could do during the gun season, kind of separate video, is to go into a spot that could be a dynamite PM sit closer to food or overlooking food, blow into that first thing in the morning, empty the field out. Where those does are going, the bucks are going. And on small properties, them does leave, the bucks are going to leave. Larger the property, maybe you can get away with it, right? When I say large, I mean hundreds of acres, not 20s of acres, right? So tens of acres. So really watch that one, guys. It's like I said, make sure that you are covering more than just sitting over that. Make sure that you can see the downwind side of doe bedding. Make sure that you're looking at a water hole and a food plot. Make sure that you can get in and out untouched or unobstructed, let's say, right? You're not blowing out that food source after dark, especially, but more importantly, in the morning when you go to get in it. Make sure that you're covering more than just looking at a food plot. So last is probably more important than anything I can teach guys to do with the rut. It's something that I spend hours of day doing right now. I'm gonna make a video on this sometime, guys, but I'm actually really enjoying this year hunt, but it's been frustrating for me. 6 sits in, had a chance at my target buck, blew it, string come off, or the arrow come off the string. 4 or 5 hunts later, gets us to the first week of November. He reads the script, comes in 27 yards, same place I killed Atlas last year, and blew it 27 yards, put the wrong pin on him, shot over his back. It's the coolest trail cam video that I wish I never had. So it's those passions that keep us. Last year I hunted 3 days and I was done. This year picking away, but I'm learning so much with myself and the deer, hunting with folks in camp. I'm enjoying it, but I'm ready to put the tag on something, right? And you've all been there. But that ties into this, guys. Using last year's data. One of the things I'm doing on him right now is I went back and he is starting to, I was just telling my father this morning, he's in camp here with me, I was just telling him about this, how important, going to Weather Underground and going back to that historic data, historic information, historic weather information, the winds. Type that date in. Take those trail camper pictures, type that date in, look at what he did the year before. And more important, so to finish that, we'll look at what he did the year before, right? Guys, it will spook you within days, sometimes within minutes, of what he did last year, he's going to do this year. Now that all, where's he at in the doe breeding spectrum, right? Is what's your doe numbers, what's your food plot programs look like this year? Did your habitat change? All that ties into it, right? But here's the deal, guys. A lot of my stands obviously are the same this year as they were last year. My farm's the same way as it was last year. It's promoted a little bit more, better habitat this year. But it's actually the same. So when he's here, he's dissecting it last year, he knows what he's doing this year when he comes back, and that data is spot on. Super, super important piece of the puzzle. Whatever that information is that you had last year from the deer you're targeting, but don't overlook the information that other deer are giving you. If you harvested a buck last year, go back and look what he was doing during said dates that you're creeping up on now. If he was doing it, he's not the first buck that did it, and he's not going to be the last buck that did it. He's going to have bucks that are going to walk right in his hoof prints, if you will, right? This year, you look back on your 2-year-olds, you look back on your 3-year-olds, you look back on your 4-year-olds, all of a sudden you start creating this pattern where there's a reason that deer are doing it. You advance that to your hunting strategies that you have coming up. It's a huge piece of the puzzle, guys. I throw moon, and I throw a lot of stuff out, right? Barometric pressure, predictions, whatever. I go back, and if I only had one thing to rely on for this evening's hunt or for this week's hunting strategies, I'm going to Weather Underground, right? Probably buy stock in it because I'm on that thing all so much. But you go back and you research and you let him tell you the story. You let the deer from the past tell you the story of this year, and be in that when that weather's right, when that wind is right, and it's time, and you get that within a day or two. Even if the weather's not perfect, you're within a day or two, guys. Like I said, I was just telling my father that last night. Get the trail camera pictures. Guess what? He's doing the exact stand at the exact time, the exact day that he was doing last year. Same wind, same stand, different weather, but he's there. So hopefully he's in trouble this week, right? Hopefully I don't blow it again. Maybe third time's the charm. I don't know. It's just one of those years. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. And that gets us to the top 5 peak rut strategies that I can help you with, guys. A lot going on. Busy time of the year. I wish each and every one of you the best of success. Be safe. And keep us posted on your success. A lot of good things going, creeping up into that Thanksgiving time. Rut is kicking all over. Guys in the south, you're going to be getting into this in about a week or two behind us, but this is where we're at right now. Peak rut here in central Kentucky. Thanks, guys. Hey folks, wanted to add this to the videos here. I get this each and every year. I get this feeling that folks don't want to reach out because maybe their season isn't going great and they kind of feel ashamed. Here's the deal, guys. Don't feel ashamed. I take a passion in this business to reach out and help folks overcome what I went through for so many years. Born and raised Central Michigan. I've been there, right, guys? I've experienced that for years. Thought I was experiencing a rut, really wasn't. Because of the area that you're in, right? And it's all relevant to where you're at. But there's so much more that you can do to bring the potential, the best potential that your area holds, that your property holds. So much more that you can do that I wish I could help everybody. My schedule allowed, but to help everybody. So we have some spots available left for 2024. Reach out, guys. Really looking forward to the new clients this year, doing some revisits. I always go back, and if I'm in the area a year or two down the road, to see how your project is coming. We're involved in builds this year. I got some habitat dates left available. If you have thoughts that you are looking for something more, please reach out. I would really appreciate the opportunity to help you. And if that's something that you're looking for, guys, there are still dates available for 2024. Thank you.